Hey folks, here, welcome back to another Pokemon Master video, and today we're going to talk about the new Strike Candy and Tech Candy that well, I'm not sure if you guys got the Strike Candy yet, but at least, hopefully folks already ground out the Tech Candy. We're to use the 3-star Tech Candy and 4-star Strike Candy on, right? So obviously, like I mentioned before, you should probably use these on free-to-play units, right? Because free-to-play units, like, you know, some bull units, you get their dupes relatively easily, right? I mean, come on, the game will, when you press that, you know, summon button, the game will spit out a 3-star. You all know, right? But yeah, let's go over them. And also, the Sun Bowl 3-4 stars don't have Synchrid, so there's no point giving them anyways. Let's go over the units. Let's actually talk about the 3-star Tech Candy first, because I do think that's the more interesting one, because like we already got like 4-star Strike Candy before. My recommendations are still generally mostly the same. Anyways, let's get into this. So 3-star Tech units. We've got well, I wouldn't say a few. We got 2 so far with expanded Synchrids. We got Torkoal and Vileplume, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure these 2 are the only one, right? Torkoal or Vileplume. And Torkoal and Vileplume are both great units. However, I do think Torkoal is definitely a step above Vileplume. Again, Vileplume is not bad. Vileplume is really good as well. But, however, for Vileplume, Vileplume is more team specific, whereas Torkoal you could almost slot it to any team against like almost any stage in the battle, and you'll do like exceptionally well, right? Because like Torkoal does a lot of great things. So Torkoal has good defenses. Torkoal can Will-O-Wisp, decrease the opponent's you know, the physical damage, while also doing some chip damage as well. And Torkoal hits like truck, right? If you guys don't know, Torkoal hits incredibly hard. It has 2 Burn Synergy 5s, has Critical Strike 5, right? Not that you could, I mean, you can technically get all of them, and like a bunch of Ember nodes. And the reason why it has like so many Ember nodes is due to the fact that like Torkoal's kit, right? Torkoal's base kit, and this is why, you know, Torkoal actually had a really good chance of being extremely good in comparison to, you know, some other units, which a lot of folks thought would have been better, but unfortunately didn't, you know, get as good with the Synchrid, because their bases weren't that great, or wasn't, you know, it didn't have the conditions to make a really powerful Synchrid. And Torkoal, honestly, I do think is the strongest Synchrid by far in terms of upgrade, right? Not the strongest unit of all these expanded Synchrids. I think that's probably between Swanna or Alexam, right? But Torkoal is definitely has like the biggest upgrade, right? From like an absolute potato to incredibly powerful. And the reason why I have so many Ember nodes is because it doesn't have anything for ult. Well, you know, that's the only attack. So they just dumped a bunch of Ember nodes into Torkoal, right? Obviously, you got some other special attack nodes as well. And Torkoal just hits like a truck. And do keep in mind, Ember is a 1-gauge move. So there's that as well. We also got Ember move gauge refresh on a 1-gauge move. Very, very powerful. Like, Torkoal just basically has everything. Torkoal has everything. Torkoal's it's just so incredibly powerful. Right? Again, you could use it as a tank, you could use it for damage, you could use it as like some kind of burn tech unit, right? It's just incredibly powerful. And Vileplume is still great. Again, you know, it depends on what you're trying to do, right? And it depends on how many copies you have beforehand. And 3 out of 5, or not 3 out of 5, 2 out of 5 Vileplume versus 1 out of 5 Vileplume, 2 out of 5 Torkoal versus 1 out of 5 Torkoal, right? If you're trying to get it to 3 out of 5, or if you're trying to get it 2 out of 5, right? But Vileplume has some like good stuff here as well, right? In its grid, you got a lot of really good stuff that could potentially make it powerful as well. It's not as powerful as Torkoal, but you know, stuff like Confusion Synergy 5, Paralysis Synergy 5, Solar Flare could increase your damage under Sun with your Sync move, I guess. A lot of, you know, damaging stuff. Flabbergas could confuse your opponent when you're using Sunspore. Sunspore Satisfy Snarl, and then you got Healing Sun, which you could heal under Sun, and you have really good defenses anyways, right? Really good tank plus heal. That's always a recipe for success, right? Just look at Rotom, a tank that could heal, very powerful. Milotic, a tank that could heal. Although I do think both of those are probably generally better than Milotic, or not Milotic, than Vileplume as a tank, but Vileplume works very well on a Sun team for obvious reasons. And then you got stuff like Energy Ball move gauge refresh, Energy Ball move gauge refresh, and Energy Ball move gauge refresh. So we got like 3 move gauge refreshes for Energy Ball, which is incredibly powerful, especially for a tank, right? Because you're not trying to do much. You want it offensively, right? You want to be there for the team defensively, and you don't want to drag the team down offensively, right, with your move gauge. And this is the best way to contribute that to that, which is give your striker as much move gauge as possible. And this does very, very well. Again, these 2 units are both very powerful. So let's look at them in terms of 2 out of 5 versus 3 out of 5, right? So Vileplume at 2 out of 5, if you have it at 1 out of at 1 out of 5 and you're trying to get it to 2 out of 5, for the stuff you get, like, they're good. Like, you get Energy Ball and Roll, you get 1 Energy Ball move gauge refresh, which again, very, very you know, crucial stuff. And then you pick up a lot of like the damaging stuff as well, right? Confusion Synergy 5, some of these Sun Spore stuff as well. But in general, I don't think it's like that big of a deal. Again, Energy Ball move gauge refresh is a big deal, right? On a roll is not bad either, but I don't think it's that big of a deal in comparison to like Torkoal, right? And again, we're talking about 1 out of 1 out of 5 going into 2 out of 5. Torkoal at 1 out of 5 has 1 burn synergy, and that's basically it. You don't have the Ember move gauge refresh. You're missing you're missing the Crow Strike 5, missing the burn synergy 5, right? Like, you know, just overall for Torkoal, you're just missing a lot more stuff. So if you have both at like 1 out of 5 and you're wondering which one you want to invest in, I'd suggest Torkoal of these 2. If we're talking about if you already have it at 2 out of 5 and you're looking to bring it to 3 out of 5, then look at some other stuff. Vileplume gains the extra 2 move gauge refreshes on Energy Ball, which again is very, very powerful. As for other stuff, you do get another Energy Ball and Roll, but like you don't have any energy for that anyways, honestly. I think you also get the Port On MP refresh. Yeah, Port On MP refresh is fantastic. Which again, the stuff that Vileplume gets is good. Also get Solar Flare, but it's like not anything amazing either. But if we look back at Torkoal, Torkoal's like 3 out of 5 grid honestly isn't like the craziest either. Like you get Fortuitous, which is nice. You also got Pass It On if you want to do that, and Co-op, which again, Co-op's not that big of a deal anymore, so Pass It On is not, you know, it wasn't as crazy as it was initially, right, when Torkoal was first announced. As for some other stuff, losing Power Chain, not a big deal either. Again, that's all Co-op stuff. Healing, I don't even know why I'm keeping switching back and forth. All the you know, locked ones are there. Healing Sun is good. Healing Sun's very good, however, right? Especially if you're running it with a Sun team, if you're running with Ho-Oh, right? Ho-Oh, Torkoal, plus I guess Red. Incredibly powerful team, right? Probably one of the strongest teams in the game. Incredibly powerful, right? And then Willow of Accuracy would be nice to have, but also not a big deal because you just really need to like land 1 at least, at most 3, right? And then your sync move buffs, which aren't a huge deal either, because if you're running it on a Sun team, you're going to be syncing with either Ho or Red, right, depending on the situation. But yeah, both of these have something good in their 3 out of 5, but like nothing like amazing, right? Nothing like just over the top. Again, Torkoal has Healing Sun, and then Vileplume has, oops, not Terra. Vileplume has the extra 2 Energy Ball move gauge refresh too. Personally, I would suggest among these 2, Torkoal, I guess, just feel like Healing Sun's so powerful. And it depends if you know, on what you have. If you have Red, right, this would be really good. Like even if you don't have Red, you know, Ho-Oh plus Torkoal plus even Infernape, honestly, right, would be an absolute devastating combo as well. Infernape, if you grid it with either Fire Punch or Fire Blast, again, depending on the circumstances, right, will be really devastating. But I don't think it's like that big a deal, right? In comparison to Red, obviously. Red does take the advantage under Sun with the Charging Sun, all that, or not Charging Sun, the was it Speeding Sun or something? What's it called again? I think it's called Speeding Sun, right? Yeah, Speeding Sun too, right? So Red does take advantage of that a bit more in comparison. But yeah, you can still run it with an Infernape or honestly Vileplume. If you run Vileplume, Torkoal, and Ho on the same team, that's actually not a terrible team, honestly. It's all like, you know, insanely good, but it could be a very fun team that you could run. But yeah, In terms of these two, I would suggest Torkoal. However, that is not your only options. There are some other options that you could also consider. One of them is called save. You could save your candy, right? Because there are some other free-to-play units that haven't had their grids expanded yet. That are tech types. Main one being, I think this is the only one, right? Brock's Onyx. Brock's Onyx. Honestly, if you look at its sync grid, whenever it's gonna come, right? So if you have it, you probably would want to wait until the Datamined to see what we get next month. Onyx is dropping, whatever, if its grid's good. And honestly, Onyx is just so good without a grid. With a grid, well, I wouldn't say it's so good. It's not bad. I wouldn't say it's not. Okay, that might be a bit hyperbolic, but Onyx is really good without a grid because it has potion, and any unit with potion is just a immediate plus 20 points, even though you guys don't know what the metric is. But potion is good. And Onyx has some other good stuff. Rock Tomb, lower opponent speed, Rock Hard Determination to raise your sharply raise your defenses, which is nice. And you have good defensive stats. Spiritual defense is kind of potato. That's not bad, but it's potato. HP is not bad either. So Onyx could honestly be really, really good, even if we just get MP refresh on potion, and with a small chance. Well, I wouldn't say small chance. With the possibility looming that potion could also get Master Healer, right? Master Healer with MP refresh on potion. This would be something I'd probably wait for, and just even a rock throw move gauge refresh, or even 2 or 3 rock throw move gauge refresh. That would be 3 might be busted. 2 is already really strong, but 1 or 2 rock throw move gauge refresh. This can make Onyx an absolute monster, right? Also got Stoic as well, which is even better, especially with a move gauge refresh on a 1 gauge rock throw, right? So here's the personally, this would be my suggestion for order. If you want something to use immediately right now, go for Torkoal. If you have Torkoal at 1 out of 5 at the moment, give it that 3-star Titanium, make it 2 out of 5. And then if you're gonna have a 2 out of 5 Torkoal, I'd probably wait for Onyx, honestly. And then if you really don't care for Onyx, you just want to use something immediately, then you could go 3 out of 5 your Torkoal, or 2 out of 5 / 3 out of 5 your Vileplume. Again, it depends on what you're trying to do. But yeah, that's for the tech candy. As for the striker candy, nothing much has changed, right, for the most part. The few that we have here, we got where is it? We have Infernape, that's 4-star. Infernape, Kingdra, that's another 4-star, and then Hau's Raichu. None of these are well, I wouldn't say none of these are fantastic. Hau is not fantastic. That's what I meant to say. Hau's not fantastic. At 3 out of 5, you do have I guess you do have a Thundershock, Gramming Speed, I guess. I don't know. It's something, but are you really good? I guess you could use Thundershock, because you could build a pretty interesting sort of Thundershock, just speed kind of unit build, right? Because if you don't want to, if you're not trying to do damage with it, something just to increase your team's speed with move gauge, because you do have 2 move gauge refresh on Thundershock, and then ramming speed on that. You can do some damage off the Thundershocks while also just giving your team gauges. But again, that's very trivial, and I personally do not suggest using a candy on Raichu. So it's basically between Kingdra and Infernape, right? And of these two, I do recommend Kingdra. Kingdra does insane amounts of damage. Not the best defensively. You do get Dragon Guard, but Dragon Guard is not going to save you from big Dragon type sync moves, right? But with Kingdra at 3 out of 5, you do get some really good stuff. For example, your Draco Meteor move gauge refresh, that would be really nice to have. Draco Meteor stats cool if you don't have Dauntless on your Kingdra. Well, you probably would want Dauntless on your Kingdra. Dragon Breath, Hostile Environment, which I don't really recommend. Just bring a Paralyzer instead. It's good, but there's just too much energy. You probably would just want to invest somewhere else instead. Paralysis Synergy 5 on Dracomir, that is very, very good. It would make your Kingdra hit like a truck. Sam Reserves Potato. Dire Rain just depends. I'm not going to use Kingdra in Rain that much, I guess. Just depends on circumstances. Like, Kingdra does good damage in Rain, obviously, right? It's actually 50% over here, and then crit in that, but, you know, Dire Rain, just raise its crit instead. I don't know. Victory Remind and Purifier, I don't need Spring or a crit buffer, depend on you, right? So, as for Infernape is really, really good. Don't get me wrong, Infernape's 3 out of 5 is good. Because you get, like, Critical Strike, right? Although it is 12 energy. However, like, Infernape just gets, like, unfortunately, just overshadowed by Torkoal. Torkoal is just so powerful that there really isn't much point using Infernape if you have Torkoal, right? Even 2 out of 5 Torkoal, right? 2 out of 5 Torkoal is generally more useful than a 3 out of 5 Infernape for the most part. At max, Infernape, again, does a lot of really, really good damage. But, you know, Torkoal's free, just use Torkoal instead. And if you have red, then there's that, right? You just use red for a Fire-type Striker. So that's that, I guess. Also, again, do keep in mind that, that there's another, it's not Force type, or 4-star Striker, which is Valerie and Sylveon. Don't get your hopes up for Sylveon. It could be an interesting unit. I just don't think it's going to be a really, really powerful damage dealing unit. I guess they can sort of make it Sync Nuke, maybe, right? But it could be a really good sustain, you know, a really good tanky-ish striker. But I don't see it, you know, being like insanely good. But if you want to save for Sylveon, you can save for Sylveon as well, you know, because again, if you already use a 4-star, can you get Kingdra to 3 out of 5, and then you probably don't have to worry too much about it. You can save for Sylveon. Again, like I mentioned before, Infernape, not a big deal. So, anyways, that's it with this one, I guess. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like and enjoy this video, subscribe to the channel for some more Pokemon Masters content. I'll see you guys in the next one.